So, hello, this is the first episode of the Founders Interviews from S4S. I'm here with my friend Maksud from the Turing Society, Turing
Hey.
students. Uh, and I'm here on behalf of S4S, which is part of the Community and Learning and Innovation at Erasmus University. S4S is one of the pillars of this institution, and we aim at basically helping students and partnerships create and sort of foster ideas that help education on the campus through financing them, through helping them otherwise. And Turing Society, which Maksud here founded, uh, is one of them. And so that's why I have him here today. So please tell me about yourself and basically your whole story, like your interest in programming, the tech world, and why did you found Turing Society?
All right. So, hey guys, my name is Maksud Gavaz. I'm 25 years old, and as Mikolas already said, I've been involved in setting up the Turing Society first as a student organization on campus, and afterwards as a kind of global community of tech education disruptors. How like what was it? What was the first question?
So, how did you? Well, I assume you yourself program or have knowledge in programming tech. So, how did you get into that yourself? Yeah. And how did you decide, or what led you to decide on starting Turing Society?
So this was back in 2015, 2016. The idea came up through Thomas and Theodore, two guys that came up with the idea of starting a place where we could come together and learn about technology and specifically like coding, right? And they had one first event to kind of spread the idea and look for founding team members. And so I was sitting in that crowd. I just came back from my exchange in Madrid, and I was sitting in that crowd. And actually in Madrid, I realized, dude, like, where are you going with this whole university? Like, everybody's doing something. You got to do something. And then I got really inspired by Thomas and Theodore. So I just sent them a message afterwards saying, yo, guys, I really want to join in. I have zero knowledge in coding whatsoever now, but, I'm eager to learn, and I just want to add value, right, in whatever way I can. So we had a couple of meetings with both Thomas and Theodore, and they got me on the team, and then we started thinking about, okay, how can we get this started? And in the beginning, I was a bootcamp coordinator. What does that mean? I was responsible for organizing everything around the bootcamp that we had back then. It used to be a very basic website, kind of how to make websites, web development.
Yeah.
So we were teaching HTML, CSS, JavaScript, couple of templates that you can use, and like how to make it easier for yourself. Because the idea was back then, you don't have to be the best coder in the world to be able to make an MVP, to be able to make a basic website, right? And that's also how I got into coding. I joined that. I also participated, was organizing it and doing it at the same time. So for me, it was a great learning experience. But what I saw early on was that, okay, it's interesting what you can do with development, like knowledge about development if you're a coder. But I didn't really feel as though I was the person that's going to be great at coding, right? And at some point you realize what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are you good at? And I was more good at the business aspect, the organizational aspect, setting up an organization around it, thinking about new ideas, new events, managing the team. And I decided to then, when Thomas and Theodore, because they were leading it back then, I was kind of helping out. Then Theodore left on to do something else. Thomas went to Lithuania, and there he got in touch with the guys in Lithuania that he's doing it together with now. And so I was leading the team in Rotterdam, kind of making sure it's going the way it's supposed to. We grew quite a bit in the first year, and after that, I was still obviously in touch with both Thomas and Theodore, and Thomas called me. He's like, "Yeah, so we're gonna start the same thing in Lithuania, and yeah, within a month or so, they came over to visit. We had a couple of meetings. I helped them together with Thomas, obviously, because he also knew it. But we helped the new team over there kind of figure out how we do it in the Netherlands and how they can take it to Lithuania. Fast forward a couple of years later, in Lithuania, they're huge, doing amazing stuff, working with governmental organizations, working with private schools, public schools, and really becoming a driving force in
Yeah.
the kind of non-formal tech education field.
Mm.
And yeah, that's kind of how things went.
And how old is Turing Society? When did you found it?
So 4 years, four
Four.
years.
Wow. So quite a bit have happened since then.
Yeah, for sure.
But is there an actual like school, like Turing school in Lithuania?
So we had the offices that we have right now. We teach about like 10, 12, 15 people there. Um, but what we're also working, but that's an office, and then we have space within the office where we also teach, right? So it's not a physical school. We're working on that within our Turing College project. We're busy with it now. Now trying to also add a kind of online software, kind of similar to what they have at 42 coding school or Codam. You're probably familiar with it in
Yeah, it's
Amsterdam.
in Amsterdam, right?
Exactly, where they have like everything is online, and the curriculum is online. The tests that you can do is online. The projects that you have is online. You're in touch with your students. It's really, and sort of you log in and it's a new online world of yeah, tech education, and we were building that now and looking for investors over there. So it's really ongoing. It's been ongoing for a while, but we've not been standing still. We started off with the Turing School projects, and because in the beginning everything was called Turing Society, right? But then at some point we decided, all right, Turing Society is the kind of whole ecosystem, and then Turing Students is one part of it, Turing School is another part of it, Turing College is another part of it, and now we have Turing Studio, which helps startups in Lithuania with product market fit and just branding
Yeah.
and
Quite the
obviously
enterprise.
exactly, yeah, quite cool.
Cool, man. That's pretty impressive, actually. That's like I have to say that is some impressive stuff. So was also part of the reason why you started touring at the campus. Did you feel like there was something missing? Did you feel like there was just like
Oh
a
yeah,
hole or
100%.
like a discrepancy between what the job market wants or will want and what the school provides?
100%. I mean, with all the respect to Erasmus University, it's a good university in my opinion. But the problem with big institutions is that they're kind of not as agile as to what the market needs, what the job market needs, what the knowledge that us students need is way more, yeah, has to be way more practical than what we get. I mean, it's like, listen, like academic knowledge is very important, and especially if you want to specialize in something, but you don't need it that much in your job, right? I mean, it helps you to understand things better,
Yeah.
but it's not that you have to like do a 3 or 4 or 5 year university course in computer science in order to be a coder. You can really, even by yourself, a couple of hours a day, look online, follow a course that are free online, and just,
Or doing a touring course.
or doing it like so we were
Yeah,
like, all right, there's all these things available online, but what is this missing? A
yeah.
kind of classroom environment where people motivate each other, where people are held accountable, where there's certain how do you say it, hours where we come and learn
Yeah,
together, and
we
there's
have
deadlines.
deadlines
So
and stuff.
because you still need it, right? And a community basically around the whole learning experience. And we were like, all right, if the university doesn't do it, let's just start it ourselves. In the beginning, we were even struggling to get recognized by the university.
Yeah,
They were
I was about to ask that. So, like, how was the process there? Like, what would?
I mean, the process was we just started, made a legal structure, like went to the notary, made a legal structure, put it, made a legit organization out of it, we had our branding, everything already, so we just started doing it. You could rent rooms. I remember Thomas was part of ECE, so through ECE, we were renting rooms. They helped us out a lot there in the beginning, and yeah, then we wanted to apply for to get recognized. Yo, listen, we're doing something here. It's good for the university. We're kind of filling a gap that the university is not doing. Help us out a bit. But they were like, yeah, no, you have to just, go through the process. We were like, all right. So we just continued. I mean, the reason why we went to the university was that we wanted to, get maybe some help in any way, whether it's connections within the university, knowing who to talk to. It wasn't even about the money. So that's why it's very cool that now finally there is an organization, Students for Students, that is there exactly for these type of situations.
Yeah. No, I personally have to say that I took two boot camps at Turing, the Python one and the CS50 one, and it was good. Like I was impressed by the whole process, and also I know for CS50, right, there's a license by Harvard.
Yeah.
So you actually follow like a Harvard course.
Yeah.
And see the Harvard lectures, and yeah, with in addition to that, you have the professor or the lecturer who helps you, and
yeah.
I think it's a good concept. I think it works out well. Like it's professional.
Yeah. I mean, how this whole thing with Harvard CS50 came to exist was also through connections in Lithuania. They had a friend that studied at Harvard and was actually part of the CS50 course there, because there's it's like a big organization within Harvard. CS50 is like their own thing. They have their own brand and everything. And so we got in touch with them, met with them a couple of times online. And then David Malin, the teacher, actually came to Amsterdam for, I don't know, he was visiting a university. And we went over to meet with him, kind of discuss our ideas, what we wanted to do, teach it to students and high school and elementary school students in Lithuania, the Netherlands. Yeah, he was really fond of the idea, and he saw that what we wanted to do was not based on getting profit or making profit or whatever. It was just spreading the knowledge that is already available online, but just making it in a more organized way. And yeah, for them it was a good reason to partner with us.
Yeah, no, for sure, it's interesting. And so, where's now like Turing Society in the process of, or Turing students in the process of getting credits from the university? Are you still trying to do that, or do you do that right now? Like, can you get credits for taking a course?
Oh yeah. So since this year, the team this year did a really good job in that. We're gonna have, I think, as part of the Erasmus School of Economics, an elective that you can choose is gonna be based around. I think it was a machine learning course, and so you'll be able to follow our course and get credits for it. I don't know if they started already. I don't think so. I think it's going to be from next academic year.
Okay, well, yeah, that's pretty good. That's quite a bit of quite the achievement.
Yeah, exactly. And you really see, we started with, all right, just giving people the basic knowledge. We still have those type of courses as well, like with CS50 is more basic knowledge, but we also have courses that go more in depth, right?
Yeah.
And that's really something that we're also doing more in Lithuania right now, where we want to become the kind of number one institution when it comes to educating the best coders in Europe. And so we're trying to do that as well at the Erasmus University now. So we're having more and more courses that are a bit more high level, teach you more. So it's
And so what was like the original vision for Turing Society or Turing Student? What was like the vision?
Oh man,
the mission.
To be honest, in the beginning, we just wanted to make tech education more accessible. Starting off at the university, then out of Turing Society also came Restart Network, which was an organization that taught refugees coding and helped them really get a restart in their career, and kind of fill the gap between we have a lot of migrants that are kind of here, not having a job, don't really know how to add value to society. But then there's a lot of lack of people that have coding knowledge where they can help companies with their websites. Or back then it was also more basic for them, but that also you know,
That's very interesting. That's cool.
grew into something being something more specialized, and it started with that idea, making it more accessible for everyone. You don't have to be a computer science student in order to build websites or make an application.
Yeah.
You can do it by yourself. Honestly,
Just
just
you
go
don't
online.
need any background, or you don't need
Exactly,
background.
exactly. We just wanted to prove that, and from there, kind of the idea grew. We opened up in Amsterdam. We closed it down again because yeah, it was kind of hard to manage two chapters at the same time. Then we went to Lithuania. There it exploded. At some point, went to Mexico because one of our students was an exchange student from Mexico. So she came up to us. She was like, "Hey, I want to start this." So we were like, "All right, let's do this."
Mm,
And yeah, now we even have a chapter there. So it's
that's awesome.
yeah.
Mm. And so when you think about, like, for example, the Erasmus campus, if you were
Yeah.
to think about it as a market, and Turing Society or Turing Students being like a company, and ETC, the other tech society or association, being also like a company, do you
Yeah.
think there's still space for more like tech
Um,
associations, or do you think it's pretty much filled up? Do you think there's no more like
if they if they find their niche and if they do it better than what is already there, then there's always space. And if anything, more and more organizations just means more choice for the students, more and also kind of a way to make each other better, right?
yeah, that's true.
When ETC was starting, I was actually also in the S4S team, so I was seeing everything there, and it was like, all right, great, another organization on campus that is promoting this cause, promoting that the university should focus more on tech education. They had a more approach of making big scale events. I
Yeah,
mean, we also did that, but yeah, it wasn't really our focus. Our focus was more on the education part, and so it's great that students have this option from the
100%.
beginning. Everyone like, look guys, it's competition or whatever. Like, don't even look at it. Try to really look more for collaboration.
Yeah.
But I wasn't that involved anymore in like the day-to-day activities. More was in the advisory role. But yeah, I'm still in close touch with the ETC people. Like Raj is a yeah, we're in touch. We talk about what he's up to because he also works for the university now, and kind of me with my company. We keep each other updated. Also, kind of what's happening with Turing Society, Turing students, etc. It's all it's all healthy. Let me put it this way.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. That's good that I think that's a good way to look at it. That's a good approach.
Yeah.
That it's not really competition, but it's more complementary.
Yeah, you can look at it as competition, maybe, or like, but I think competition, if anything, healthy competition. Where
Yeah,
you put.
no, for sure. And you also, and I also know that you participate in S4S and in the Origins.
Yeah.
So how
So
did
that
you
was
come out?
before. That was just when um, CLI came to exist, so Community for Learning and Innovation. It was I was a student assistant there for Rashida Zafar, who was kind of leading the operations of that project back then, because it was an initiative called Digital is Normal, which worked for digitalization on the Erasmus University campus. But yeah, it was kind of a transition from, so Digital is Normal then became CLI, Community for Learning and Innovation. So yeah, I helped out with a bunch of projects, including Students for Students. Came up with the idea, hey, why don't we have partnerships with Students for Students with a couple of core organizations on campus that add value to the educational field of the university. So, Turing Society was the first, partner. Then afterwards, ETC came, ECE also came. Are there more? Or is it just the two of
Yeah,
them?
I think there's a bunch now. There's so we're partners with Sustainability Hub, ETC, ECE,
Yeah.
Enactus, and many more.
So yeah, so it's like,
Diversity.
yeah, because I really saw that, hey, students for students is something that is highly needed, because the main thing that was missing at the university, or was not done right well, done well or done right, sorry, was that in the development of new courses, in the development of new strategies, there was a lack of involvement I was like, listen, we're doing at the Erasmus University, we're giving courses all by ourselves without any help. That means, there are students that like to think along in this, so just involve them. And yeah, I was really pushing for that, student involvement in strategic decision making about the university, and then not just the students that are already in the student council or whatever, like all these official ones. Also, just the regular students that are just there and want to get the education that they need to be able to be competitive at the job market.
No, I 100% agree. And so you already participate in a lot of big things, right? You participate on the creation of Turing Society and Students. You participate in S4S, and now you have your own company, or you're starting your own company. So you have quite the entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah. I mean, and to be honest, being part of kind of before I got involved with Turing Society and help the guys started, I didn't even realize I had this in me, right? Like I said during my exchange, it was also the first time for me to be by myself, not living with my parents anymore.
Yeah.
Because my parents still lived in the Netherlands, so I was kind of still at home during my studies, beginning of my studies. And so while I was there, I realized, dude, everybody's busy with something. What are you doing? I mean, it's fine. You have a lot of friends. You go out, and you're having a lot of fun. But what are you adding value? How are you creating something? What is your passion?
Your
And
purpose.
so I was studying business, so obviously I was interested in doing business. So I was like, all right, I'm creating a whole new, and it's an amazing experience. It's quite frustrating sometimes because there's no instructions on what to do or where to do. It really just depends a lot on you. And yeah, kind of I got in touch with. I'm originally from Macedonia, or North Macedonia now. Got in touch with a friend of mine there. His brother owned a development company, so we started talking with him, and now yeah, we started a venture together in the Netherlands, where yeah, we work on outsourcing IT projects and giving IT strategy consulting to companies.
Mm. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I think, and you obviously have the IT background, so I think it's the perfect thing for you to do with your entrepreneurial spirit and the
But
IT
again,
knowledge.
like I said, you don't need to have background in IT or anything. Like all you need is be interested in it. If you're a salesperson, dude, you can do sales for an IT company. If your passion is HR, figure out how developers think and work and motivate
Yeah,
them. You can get a nice job in a nice tech company. So it's really not about being a coder. Like many people have this idea like, oh no, I can't go into the tech industry. I need to have a background in it. Really
yeah,
not. All I need is yeah, basic business knowledge and finding your passion, finding your
drive.
niche, focusing on it.
Yeah, and so, but do you agree, or do you think that now with the world becoming like a little more technology oriented and a little more technocratic, basically everyone should be learning a little more of like analytical skills, data skills, some sort of programming? Do you think that's almost a necessity by now, or like for the future?
Uh, at least knowing the basics, at least understanding the logic behind how computers work, behind how a certain algorithm works when you're working in data science, at least understanding it and knowing how to interpret it.
Yeah.
That is kind of that I would say is necessary. You don't have to become the best coder. You don't even have to become a coder. Just understand how it works. Understand how computers work. Understand how a certain program works. Understand how coders think, because that's also important. One of the most important things in this field of business is translating the business needs into something that developers understand and know how to build, right? And that is 100% in project management, in whatever. It's the biggest challenge, getting the system requirements right. And even if you put in a lot of effort, there's still going to be things that are unclear, and there's still going to be problems that need to be solved. And the client and the developers, it's part of it. You know how to deal with that, because you're dealing with two different kind of people.
Translate
Uh,
ideas
from
between,
my
yeah, between the
yeah,
IT and the business people.
exactly.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. That's a good point. But
Like to like kind of summarize and answer your question, no, you don't have to learn coding, but yes, you do have to put an effort to understand it and to stay
yeah.
relevant because it's going to be everywhere in every industry. It's already, it's not going to be, it's already in
And
every industry.
if you don't, you're gonna virtually become obsolete, right? Like it can also happen that if you have just zero knowledge, you're gonna be a useless employee.
Yeah, but not even that. You won't be even able to participate in social life. Think about it. Everything is with this thing around us now. Obviously, older generations have more trouble of maybe adapting to it. But I also see, my grandma's using her phone a lot, and like even they're getting acquainted to technology. Obviously, they're maybe not that interested in trying to understand how it works,
Yeah,
But for us, it's going to be very important to understand it.
no, for sure.
That's the
But you,
only way we can make it. We can deal with problems like the ethical problems that arise. That's the only way we can deal with the cybersecurity problem, with the privacy problems that arise. Once we understand how it works, we can figure out, okay, where can it go wrong, right?
hmm. But do you think so? As you talk about phones and us becoming more and more sort of dependent or more and more used to technology, do you think, for example, social media or just being more on Netflix and this does have a bad effect on people? That does make them like less social, or do you see any like problems with that in general? The way you were kind of drifting into this?
You cannot control something yourself and it starts controlling you, it can be bad for you. But that applies to anything.
Yeah.
Whether you're an alcoholic or you're a Netflixaholic that is on Netflix all the time, it's not good. You need to have a right balance. And one of the most important things in the coming years is for us to learn, okay, how are we going to deal with technology? Because just because you get notifications all the time does not have to mean you have to answer them at that same moment, right? We
Mm,
have to deal with, okay, now is my time with technology, but also have your time with, yeah, where technology is not interrupting your life, or where you have time to just be, go out and be in nature, talk to you, be social with your friends, right? If you want to. But if there's people that can do it like code for a couple of days in a row without needing any social interaction, it's fine. But if it's because it's becoming a problem for you, you need to realize that, right?
mm,
So to answer your question, it's not really, it's gonna be a big problem if we put an effort in knowing how to deal with it.
mm. So it's the power of will at the end.
Yeah. I mean, most people also just have to realize what's happening.
Yeah.
I see also older people, when they see notifications, for instance, that's my grandma's like, oh, I got a message, I gotta answer it right now or whatever. Like, no, like it's fine. Like it's probably just a Facebook notification for something.
Yeah.
And that's mostly with people that don't understand how your phone works.
Mm, mm, mm. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. So it's
And
more
for us,
about so it's more
are
about
kind
the
of
awareness, more
sorry.
about the awareness and the
Yeah,
yeah about the fact that you're not obliged to do anything to your
exactly. Don't like it cannot dictate our lives, right? We use it to make great things happen, to be in touch with people. Right now, we're having an interview together where we cannot be physically together, but it's
magic.
still possible. Yeah, exactly. And like know how to use it and use it for your own good or for humanity's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't make it, don't depend on it.
Mm. But do you think so? Now this is going to be I think maybe one of my last questions.
Yeah.
So as you say, don't depend on it. Don't you think that the society itself as a whole is starting to like a little more depend on tech companies in terms of them providing solutions for problems and them just sort of growing and growing as sort of like a power entity in some sort of society triangle? If you would have like a state, market, civil society, don't you think that there's this sort of omnipotent new player, and that being the big tech companies? Would you, if you would take, for example, I don't know, Corona now in US, everyone's kind of like relying on Apple and Google to make some tracking mechanism or something and just solve this. There's a lot of this thinking. So I was just curious about what do you think about that? If the tech companies are maybe not getting too much power.
Um,
Or you don't think
They have a lot
that's
of power. They
huh?
have a lot of power. Everybody has either an Android phone or an iOS phone.
Yeah.
Okay, not everybody, but I'd say 90% of the people, especially in the Western world. So they have the data, they have access to their specific information about them. They know how we behave online, what we buy, what we like, maybe our sexual orientation. So obviously they have a lot of power, and it's up to the governments, it's up to us people actually to kind of decide, okay, how much power are we going to give them, or just to put a light on, okay, how are they dealing with all this information, with all this data that they have. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, they add a lot of value to my life, to our lives. They make our life so much easier, right? I mean, I love companies like Google and Apple because they make my life easy. How do I pay for it? By, paying for their products, but also with my data. However, yeah, there just needs to be good legislation for this.
Yeah.
And I'm optimistic in this way, because yeah, we're moving towards a society that will be more transparent, that will be more, yeah, techy, we're gonna have uh, gadgets that will be connected to the internet more and more. The field of IoT is growing every day. Smart cities are becoming a real thing. So I think it's kind of not realistic to think we could go back to everybody having their private lives and not knowing about, like, I think that's a bit unrealistic to think that. If you look at the trends where the world is going, it would be a step back. And although there are some sub societies that have done step backs in history, as a society in general, we always stepped up, right?
Progress.
Progressed, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. And I think this is gonna be my last question
Yeah.
to you, and this is more of like a philosophical sort of moral question, I guess, for the end. So I would like to ask you like a personal question, and it's gonna be: so what is it that you want to achieve in life, and with which values?
Damn.
Um, and if you have some moral codex.
So what do I want to achieve in life, and what's
Yeah.
my
So,
moral
so the question is constructed from three components. What do you want to achieve? With which values? And what's your moral codex? So this is kind of like a transformational, inspirational last question,
Yeah.
listeners.
What do I want to achieve? Well, I want to help people grow, whether they want to grow from a low starting point to get a decent starting point, or whether they want to grow from a decent starting point to excel. I want there to be kind of same opportunities for everyone. I really see that the people over there, it's not that they are less ambitious, or it's not that they are uh, less smart, or they just had less opportunities in life.
Yeah.
And here because I always compare, how things are in where I'm from and how things are where I grew up, and there are a lot of things that are different, but the people, because I have friends in both parts of the world, and you see they get excited by the same stuff. They're motivated by the same things. It's just that differences of opportunity has kind of created an imbalance.
Yeah.
And so the way I see it in the Western world, especially in the Netherlands, there's an excess of opportunities to the point where people get anxious, not knowing what to do. Right? As a
Yeah.
student, you probably know, you're like, yo, where am I going? What am I doing? There's so much things. And in different parts of the world, it's like they find one opportunity and just go for it.
Yeah.
Or and then they're even lucky if they find it. You
Yeah.
know. And so I want to create more of a balance in this. And what were the other questions?
So, with which values? So I guess that was sort of incorporated in your answer.
Yeah.
And what is
Yeah.
your moral codex?
My moral codex. Um, Always respect everyone. Doesn't matter where they're from, what they do, because you never know. They might be able to add value to you at some point in your life. Yeah,
Fair enough. Yeah.
you made me go deep.
Hello, Joe Rogan drift.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that's it. That's all I have here, and that's
Great.
the end of our first founders interview featuring Turing
I'm
Society, Turing
happy.
students,
I'm
Turing
happy
college.
you guys. Yeah, I'm happy you guys thought of me. And actually, the Turing student is recruiting a board. So maybe if I get a little moment to do a little shout out.
We'll see when this
Um,
video is actually up. So maybe it's gonna be too late, but hopefully, hopefully
oh yeah,
still gonna be current.
if it's still available, even if it's not, dude, just send them an email. If you're good enough, we'll
Okay.
see. Maybe join. Yeah.
Good for stars. Yeah. All right.
Right.
Thank you very much, Maksud. This is
Thank
the
you
end.
as well, Mikilas, and yeah, enjoy your time.